Opening title, Safe Toddles, Toddler Cane.
Hi, I'm Dr. Grace Ambrosakin, and I'm here today to talk about long cane next step warning, and specifically how to calculate that figure so that you get an accurate understanding of your student's next step warning when using the long cane. Here is the formula. At the top is the total number of steps taken that were onto ground that was swept or tapped by a cane. The bottom number, that's the total number of steps. And then when you divide the bottom number into the top number, you get your percentage of next step warning. So let's take a look at a few videos. I have the real time and then I have a slowed down version that helps us count the steps accurately. What I have here today are 100 steps broken up into 10 step series. Each time we have 10 steps, we'll calculate the next step warning. And that way we can get an accurate idea of how well the student is using it. The student that we're looking at today
is Audrina, our 3-year-old preschooler from New Mexico who just loved the wearable cane.
You found me, well you better catch me. Yeet! I've never seen you run so fast. I can't catch.
This is her using her long cane.
Series 1 equals 10 steps. The student is walking on smooth sidewalk. Her cane looks to stay in front of her as she takes her 10 steps. She achieved a 60% next step warning. The reason, mostly her cane stays in front of her left foot, which automatically cuts the number of steps in half that are protected. So because the cane sweeps once more to the right, she gets 60% next step warning. Series 2, 10 steps. In Series 2, we notice that when the cane comes off the ground, it does not have her stop. So that's 40% next step warning, but also an indication that she is not stopping when the cane tip stops. Known as walking past your cane, it's often a sign the cane user is not relying on the tactile feedback or doesn't understand what the tactile feedback of the cane means. By maintaining her cane on the right side in her right hand, she achieves a 40% next step warning. Now, Series 3, 10 steps. She's on a flat sidewalk. The cane is mostly in front, but her next step warning is still only 40%, and here's why. In the slowed down version, once again, we see that while she's walking, the cane is actually wide to the right. She does maintain the cane in front of the right foot for several steps, but then the cane is once again wide to the right, or 40% next step warning. Series 4, 10 steps. In the quick version, it's very obvious that the cane is not in front of Audrina's steps, also known as 0 next step warning. And in the slow version, we can see that very clearly, that there are no protected steps. Or 0 next step warning. In the Series 5 10 step, in the quick version, we see again, very easy to spot that none of her steps are being checked by the cane. So 0% next step warning. Series 6 for 10 steps, and we see it's off to the right. No next step warning with the cane.
18 out of 60 steps have been onto protected space. So the reverse of that is that over 40 steps have been onto space that was not checked previously by her cane. So she doesn't really have an adequate safe mobility percentage using the long cane on this path. The cement path is a clear path, but looking ahead, we see she's about to transition to a gravel path. And what we can also look at is her pace and her gait to see how it changes in response to this less even surface.
Series 7 through 10, 40 steps.
I'm not used to walking on gravel. Miss Jackie's gonna go get your new cane and see how it changes. So how do you walk on gravel when your cane doesn't roll across it?
Right here.
Well, are you going that direction? You can follow Danielle, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can follow Danielle who's videoing you to go straight. She's going down the path, but I want to see how you use your cane going across all this rocky trail.
Her next step warning was 2 out of 40 steps or 5%. Without prompting, Audrina comes to a halt, and in answering a question about how to use her cane, she gives a very unclear answer. She is able to be prompted to follow someone ahead of her. However, following is orientation, cane skills is mobility, and it is clear that Audrina lacks safe mobility from her long cane in this sequence of 100 steps.
Yeah. You can follow Danielle who's videoing you to go straight. She's going down the path, but I want to see how you use your cane going across all this rocky trail.
After analyzing Audrina's next step warning with the long cane, it's obvious that she doesn't obtain a high enough percentage of next step warning to consider the long cane as a safe mobility tool. She is severely visually impaired and she does need tactile next step warning. That's why she's a great candidate for a wearable cane. She's young enough to where she's had too much experience walking without it, that she needs a real big dose of what reliable tactile next step warning can provide her. And she did get that. So in subsequent videos on this page, you can watch Audrina's success with her wearable next step warning. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please email me, info@safetoddles.com.
For more information, contact info@safetoddles.com.